Okay, so I have been trying to get this dream out at least a week now, and something keep coming up where I can't get it out, but most high willing I can get this dream out to y'all. So I had a dream about almost going on 2 weeks. I had this dream coming straight out of atonement. So the dream immediately started with Trump's face. I seen Donald Trump, and in the dream he was the president. Okay, he made a decision. He passed a law on something. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, it really triggered and upset the people. Well, let me specify: the Caucasian people, the so-called European people, the Edomites, the so-called white people was really angry and upset with the law that Trump had passed, or whatever it was that he pushed. I remember seeing Pelosi face, and she was so disgusted and so upset at whatever it was that he had passed. Now, when I shared this dream with my husband, he immediately was like, well, think about it. What is it that you think would really upset so-called white people so much that it would start a civil war? Because essentially that's what it did, and I'll get to that part. And I was like, I'm not sure, I gotta think about it. And he was like, well, what they always fighting against: reparations. They feel that we do not deserve reparations. Okay, now back to my dream. So whatever this bill was or law that he had passed and signed off on it, it triggered the so-called white people to start a civil war. It started a civil war. So mind you, you got all these so-called white people, these Edomites, they ready, y'all. They're ready for war. They're ready for war. And I have to put this warning out there. They are ready. Combat ready. Mentally ready. When I tell y'all they were strapped up, they had all kind of militant weapons. We're talking about, this wasn't even a military, y'all. These are citizens. Bulletproof vests on, Glocks on the hip, AR-15s. I'm talking about all kind of ammunition and guns, and they was ready to come and unalive all the black people, so-called black people, the Israelites. Okay, and then I seen in a dream the state of so-called black people, the Israelites. They was just so nonchalant, just walking around, just not knowing what's going on, just not with it at all, just lots of days ago, just in a sleep, y'all, like the Walking Dead, sleep, don't know what's going on, right? None of them was prepared. None of them was prepared for this war. Nothing. Literally like a lamb, literally like a sheep, y'all, in my dream. So anyways, I can remember it was like this hill, and these Edomites, they was literally sitting on a hill ready for, so there was this Edomite, I guess he was the lead guy. They was ready for him to signal them to begin to purge against the so-called blacks, right? So his signal was he released something up in the air. It was kind of like, it wasn't a real rocket, but it was like he released something in the air and it exploded in the air to signal everybody that. So it was like a spare, and it shot up in the sky to signal all the other so-called white people that it was time to begin to purge on the so-called black people, the Israelites. And in the midst of all of this that's going on, there's fighter jets flying, filled the sky, fighter jets filled the sky. So it let me know that we were already in World War III. Like, we was right at the cusp of World War III. And in the midst of us right at the cusp of World War III, or possibly already in World War III, a civil war breaks off. So the so-called white people began to start killing the so-called black people, the Israelites. Just unaliving them. And that went on for some time. And then next thing you know, there was a group of some brothers, some Israelite brothers, and they was prepared, they was ready. And it was a very small group compared to, you know, how many Edomites, so-called white people, were pretty much purging against so-called blacks. They was prepared, they was ready. They was ready like the so-called white people were ready. So, you know, a little war broke out, basically. But these so-called white people, they had unalived so many Israelites, so many so-called blacks, y'all. Just unalived them because it wasn't a fair fight. It wasn't a fair fight. And then, like I said, the mind state of our people, of my people, lackadaisical, y'all. They sleep, not prepared, just walking around. It remind me of like TikTok in real time, how people be on TikTok and it's pure vanity. They're not prepared for anything. They're just idle. And that was the condition of my people in this dream. So this group of so-called blacks began to fight back against them. So there's a small war going on. So we got us a whole little civil war going on. We got a whole civil war going on. Mind you, like I said, there was way more so-called whites than there was blacks. But before you know it, you know, the blacks started winning. And I can remember in the dream, once the so-called black group came to stand up against the so-called white groups that was trying to unalive all black people, superpower, it's like it happened so quick, but it was supernatural. It was like superpowers was given to them. It was given to so-called blacks. It was given to the so-called black men and women that was fighting together. In my dream, I can remember that. And I remember I went up to like the 4th floor. I didn't have anything to defend myself in this dream, but I remember going up to like the 4th or 5th floor of somewhere. And I was planning to escape from off the 4th floor and cross over to like another window. And I remember getting superpowers in the dream as well. And so from that moment, it's like we went around to the front, and there was a lot of sisters, so-called black women, and a bunch of them was pregnant. And so Esau, he had these vans where he was loading up these sisters that was pregnant. So basically what they did was surrender. These women surrendered because they didn't want to fight and they didn't want to be killed. So they surrendered, and Esau gave them that option to surrender and go into this van because they was all pregnant. And when I say they was pregnant, y'all, they was like visibly showing that they was pregnant, 6, 7, 8 months pregnant, y'all. Mind you, some of these women had husbands. Some of these women had husbands, because I remember talking to one of the sisters, and she was a married woman, but she didn't know where her husband was. So anyways, they was all lined up, and they all looked very beautiful. They all had on this long white dress. I can remember they all was in white. All these sisters was in white with big bellies. But it was like they was at perfect peace, y'all. They was at perfect peace. And that was literally the end of the dream, y'all. I woke up from that. So I know it's a lot of moving parts in this dream. I'm not even going to begin to really go into it and tell y'all stuff that I think about it, but I just wanted to put this dream out there, especially with election less than a week away. I needed to get this dream out there again. So the Most High, he gave me another dream showing me that Trump was going to be the president, y'all. And again, in this dream, World War III was going on. It was at the cusp of World War III, but a civil war broke out at the same time, y'all. And he had passed a bill that upset all these Edomites. So, I don't know. Y'all can take it however y'all want to take it, but I just have to put the dream out there. And that's it. At the end of the day, y'all,